My name is Ruby, I'm 31 years old, and I want to tell you about the most calculated revenge I've ever taken. Some people might say I went too far. Others will say he deserved worse. But here's the truth. When someone betrays you after 8 years, sometimes the only justice is making sure they lose everything twice. Let me take you back to where this all started. But first, please let me know in the comments section where you're watching or listening from, and tell me when I'm done if I am wrong or right. For 8 years, I loved a man named Ryan. We met in college. He was charming, ambitious, studying engineering while I was finishing my degree in graphic design. We moved in together after 2 years, adopted a cat named Pepper, and built what I thought was a life. We talked about marriage. We looked at houses. We planned a future that felt as solid as the ground beneath my feet. I should have seen the signs earlier. The late nights at the office became more frequent. The way he started password protecting his phone after years of leaving it unlocked on the kitchen counter. The sudden interest in going to the gym at odd hours. But love makes you blind, doesn't it? Or maybe it just makes you willing to ignore what you don't want to see. The truth came out on a Tuesday in March, almost exactly a year ago now. Ryan's company had a policy about workplace relationships. They had to be disclosed to HR. When Ryan didn't disclose his relationship with his colleague Melissa, and someone reported them, the company launched an investigation. They found emails, text messages, hotel receipts charged to his corporate card. Ryan was fired on a Monday. By Tuesday afternoon, his boss, whom I'd met at several company events and who genuinely liked me, called me personally to tell me what had happened. He didn't have to do that. He broke protocol to do it. But he said he couldn't stand the thought of me finding out some other way. I sat on our couch, staring at the wall for what felt like hours after that call. Pepper curled up next to me, purring, oblivious to the fact that our entire world had just shattered. Ryan came home that evening around 6 p.m., his face tight with stress. He'd been fired, humiliated, and he knew I'd find out eventually. But he didn't expect me to already know. "We need to talk," he started, and I almost laughed at how cliché it was. "About Melissa?" I asked calmly. The color drained from his face. "Ruby, Get out." "What?" "Get your things and get out. You have 1 hour." He tried to argue. Tried to explain. Tried to tell me it just happened, and that he never meant to hurt me. All the classic lines cheaters use when they get caught. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stood there with my arms crossed, waiting for him to leave. When he realized I was serious, he started packing. And I started systematically removing him from my life. I called my brother, who showed up with a truck within 30 minutes. Ryan packed faster when he saw Patrick standing in the doorway with his arms crossed. I had already changed the locks. I'd ordered new ones online the moment I got off the phone with Ryan's boss, and Patrick had installed them while Ryan was still on his way home. By 8 p.m., Ryan's belongings were in boxes on his parents' driveway. I drove them there myself while Patrick stayed at the house to make sure Ryan didn't try to go back inside. I blocked Ryan's number. Blocked him on every social media platform. Blocked his email. I sent a single message to all our mutual friends. "Ryan and I have broken up due to infidelity on his part. I need space and time. Please respect that." Then I went silent. Ryan apparently did not. I found out later, much later, that he spent weeks trying to reach me. He messaged our friends begging them to convince me to talk to him. He sent hundreds of texts that I never saw because he was blocked. He even showed up at my parents' house twice, but my dad told him to leave or he'd call the police. Ryan wanted closure. Wanted to apologize. Wanted to explain himself. I didn't care. What I cared about was rebuilding my life. I threw myself into my work. I redecorated the house, painting over the colors we'd chosen together and replacing furniture that reminded me of him. I adopted a second cat, a kitten named Olive, so Pepper would have company and I'd have more reasons to smile. And slowly, painfully, I started to heal. For months, I didn't think about Ryan at all. He became background noise, a chapter I'd closed and archived. But then, about 5 months after the breakup, I started hearing things. Melissa was pregnant. Ryan and Melissa had moved in together. They were having a boy. The news came through the grapevine, mutual acquaintances who didn't know how much I didn't care, or friends who thought I deserved to know. Each update was like a small paper cut. Not devastating on its own, but cumulatively painful. Ryan had moved on. He had a whole new life. A baby on the way. Meanwhile, I was still eating cereal for dinner and binge-watching true crime documentaries with my cats. It wasn't fair. And that's when the idea started to form. I'm not proud of what I did next. Or maybe I am. I haven't decided yet. I started planning. Ryan had left behind a small box of things when he moved out: old college textbooks, a jacket, some random items he'd probably forgotten existed. Among those things was a keychain his grandfather had given him when he was 10. It was cheap, plastic, and shaped like a little train. But I remembered Ryan telling me once that it was one of his most treasured possessions because his grandfather had died the following year. I kept it. Not out of sentimentality. Out of strategy. I waited. Months passed. I watched Melissa's social media from a fake account I'd created. She was public, documenting every moment of her pregnancy with carefully curated photos and captions about new beginnings and unexpected blessings. It was nauseating, but it was also useful. I learned when her due date was. I learned that Ryan was excited, nervous, and posting about becoming a dad. I learned that Melissa had trust issues. She'd posted vague stories about healing from insecurity and learning to trust again. Clearly, Ryan's history of messaging me after they got together had left scars. Perfect. In late October, I learned through a mutual friend that Melissa was in her final month of pregnancy. The baby could arrive any day. That's when I made my move. I ran into Ryan at a grocery store. It wasn't an accident. I'd been tracking his social media check-ins and knew his patterns. He shopped at the same store every Sunday morning. When he saw me, he froze in the cereal aisle, his cart half full. "Ruby," he said, his voice uncertain. "Ryan." I kept my tone neutral, polite. "How are you?" I'm good." "You?" "Good. Congratulations on the baby." He looked surprised that I knew. "Thanks." "Yeah, it's exciting." Scary, but exciting. We made awkward small talk for a few minutes. Then I mentioned, casually, that I'd found his grandfather's keychain while cleaning out a closet. "Really?" His face lit up. "I thought I'd lost that. I figured you'd want it back. Especially now that you're about to be a dad. Something to pass down, you know." He looked genuinely touched. "That would mean a lot. Can I come pick it up?" "Sure. How about next Saturday morning? Around 9:30. He hesitated. That's right after Melissa's due date. If she hasn't had the baby by then, I might need to reschedule." "Of course. But if Saturday doesn't work, I'm donating it. I'm doing a big declutter, and I can't keep holding onto your stuff forever." The ultimatum worked. He nodded quickly. "Okay, Saturday at 9:30. I'll be there." I smiled. "Great. See you then." The baby was born on Thursday, 2 days before our scheduled meeting. I knew because Melissa posted a photo from the hospital, a tiny hand wrapped around Ryan's finger, captioned, "Our world just got a million times bigger. Welcome to the world, baby Adrian." Perfect timing. Saturday morning arrived. I'd set up my doorbell camera earlier that week, angling it perfectly to capture anyone entering or leaving. I wore a simple outfit, jeans and a sweater, nothing that could be misinterpreted. Ryan arrived at 9:32 a.m., looking exhausted. Dark circles under his eyes, wrinkled shirt, the unmistakable look of a new parent running on no sleep. "Hey," he said when I opened the door. "Sorry, I'm a bit late." "No worries. Come in." He hesitated. "I should probably just grab it and go." "Ryan, it's fine. Come in. I want to talk for a minute." He followed me inside, glancing around nervously. The house looked different: new paint, new furniture, no trace of the life we'd shared. I handed him the keychain. He held it carefully, almost reverently. "Thank you," he said quietly. "This really does mean a lot." "I know." We stood there in awkward silence. Then I said, "I wanted to talk about how things ended. I never gave you a chance to explain." His eyes widened. "You want to talk now? After almost a year? I think we both deserve closure. Don't you?" And so we talked. Or rather, Ryan talked and I listened. He apologized again for the cheating. He explained that he'd been scared of commitment, that things with Melissa just happened, that he regretted hurting me but was trying to build something good out of the mess he'd made. I nodded sympathetically, asked thoughtful questions, acted like I genuinely cared. Then, when he was done, I told him I forgave him, that I understood, that I wished him the best with his new family. We hugged goodbye. I held on tightly, not out of affection, but to make sure the doorbell camera captured the moment perfectly. The whole visit lasted 45 minutes. Ryan left at 10:17 a.m., keychain in hand, looking visibly relieved. I waited until his car disappeared down the street. Then I got to work. I pulled up the doorbell footage and edited it carefully. I clipped it to show Ryan arriving at 9:32 and leaving at 10:17, just under an hour. The hug at the end, captured from an angle, looked ambiguous enough. If you didn't know better, it could almost look like a kiss. Then I composed a message to Melissa. I'd found her number months ago through a mutual acquaintance. I'd never used it. Until now. I sent the video clip with a message that read, "Did he even shower and change his clothes between fucking me and holding his son? Congratulations on being stuck with him for the next 18 years. I hope it's everything you dreamed of." Then I blocked her number, deleted the conversation, and sat back. The fallout was immediate. Within hours, I started hearing through the grapevine that Melissa had kicked Ryan out of the hospital, that she'd revoked his access to see the baby, that security had escorted him out when he tried to force his way back in. Ryan tried calling me, texting me, but I'd already blocked him again on everything. One message got through before I blocked his new number. It said, "Why would you do this? Why would you lie?" I responded once, "I'm not going to let you play innocent. You may have deleted all of our messages over the past few months, but I haven't." Of course, there were no messages. We hadn't spoken in nearly a year until that Saturday. But Melissa didn't know that. And who would believe him? The man who cheated on his girlfriend of 8 years with a coworker, got her pregnant, and then, according to all available evidence, slept with his ex 2 days after his son was born? No one. Not his friends. Not his family. Not even his own mother, apparently, who I heard through a mutual friend was disgusted with him. Melissa refused to let him see the baby. Ryan tried to fight it, but family court moved slowly. He'd get his rights eventually, but not for months. Months of missing his newborn son's first smiles, first sounds, first everything. I heard he moved back in with his parents. That he'd lost most of his remaining friends. That even Melissa's family had turned against him, supporting her decision to keep him away. He was alone. Heartbroken. Destroyed. Just like I'd been. I want to be clear, I'm not proud of what I did. Or maybe I am. Honestly, I go back and forth. What Ryan did to me was horrible. 8 years of my life, wasted on someone who couldn't stay faithful. He destroyed my trust, my sense of security, my belief that love could be real and lasting. But what I did to him, that destroyed his relationship with his newborn son. Some people would say he deserved it. That cheaters deserve whatever karma comes their way. That I was just evening the scales. Others would say I went too far. That an innocent baby is now caught in the middle. That Melissa, whatever her flaws, didn't deserve to be manipulated. And they're both right. I justified it to myself by saying Ryan would eventually get access to his son. That the truth would come out someday. That Melissa would realize I'd lied and Ryan would get his chance to be a father. But I also knew that those first few months, the ones he was missing, were irreplaceable. You can't get those back. The guilt eats at me sometimes. Late at night, when I'm alone with my cats and my thoughts, I wonder if I became the villain in my own story. But then I remember the way Ryan looked at me when I confronted him about Melissa. The casual shrug. The "it just happened" excuse. The way he tried to make me feel crazy for being hurt. And I remember that sometimes, the only way to heal from betrayal is to make sure the person who hurt you feels even a fraction of the pain they caused. Ryan wanted closure. He wanted to apologize and move on with his shiny new life. I gave him closure. Just not the kind he expected. A few months have passed since that Saturday morning. I still hear updates occasionally. Ryan finally got supervised visitation rights, though Melissa apparently refuses to speak to him. Their relationship is over, destroyed beyond repair. He's seeing his son a few hours a week under court order, but the damage is done. As for me, I'm doing okay. Better than okay, actually. I got a promotion at work. I'm dating someone new, casually, nothing serious yet, but it's nice to feel wanted again. My house is fully mine now, decorated exactly how I want it. Pepper and Olive are thriving. And I have a video saved in a private cloud account. Evidence of exactly what happened that Saturday morning. The full, unedited version showing Ryan and me talking cordially, hugging goodbye as friends, nothing more. Insurance, in case I ever need it. Or in case my conscience ever demands I set the record straight. But for now, I'm keeping it to myself. Because here's what I learned. Revenge isn't always about making someone suffer. Sometimes it's about making sure they lose the thing they value most, the same way you did. Ryan valued his fresh start, his new family, his chance to be a father. I took that from him, at least temporarily, the same way he took 8 years of my life. Was it fair? Probably not. Was it justified? That depends on who you ask. Do I regret it? Some days, yes. Some days, I lie awake wondering if I've become the kind of person I never wanted to be. But other days? Other days, I remember the hundreds of unanswered messages Ryan sent me, begging for forgiveness. I remember how he moved on so quickly, how he built a life with the woman he cheated with while I was left picking up the pieces. And on those days, I don't regret a thing. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I served it frozen, calculated, perfectly timed. And watching Ryan's perfect new life crumble from a single text message, that was enough closure for me. The few people whom I later opened up to ask me sometimes if I ever plan to tell the truth. If I ever show Melissa the real video and admit I lied. Maybe someday. When enough time has passed. When Ryan has proven himself as a father. When Melissa has healed enough to hear the truth without it destroying her all over again. Or maybe never. Because the truth is, I'm not the hero of this story. I'm not even the victim anymore. I'm the one who learned that sometimes, the quietest revenge is the most devastating. And sometimes, making someone lose what they love most is the only way to balance the scales. Ryan took 8 years of my life and replaced me without a second thought. I took the first months of his son's life with a 45-minute conversation and a carefully edited video. We're even now. And if that makes me the villain, so be it. I can live with that.
If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone who loves a good twist. And make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one.